Hello everyone, I am Neshadoza and today my group is going to give presentation on Leo Burnett Company Limited. My group consists of Nilgun, Darshil, Naishad, Simran, Saman and Paras. Leo Burnett was established in 1935. Leo Burnett is a universal advertising company and it is leading in advertising market. Their workforce generally comprises of youthful workers of approximately 9,000 people. They have three global headquarters. LB Toronto um, covers the area of Northern America. LB United Kingdom is a headquarter for European offices, Middle Eastern offices and African offices. LB's Taipei headquarter covers the Asian consumers. Leo Burnett is working with one of its biggest and most critical clients, um, Autumn Beauty Care, to launch a new line of skincare item, Forever Young. Although the brand dispatch was not fruitful on Canadian showcase, and on the other side, it was effectively propelled on Taiwanese advertisements. The issue emerged when a group of communication and connection was increasingly strained. Regular changing in number of clients and office staffing and budget issues were the major issue for this.
Hi, I'm Nilgun. On this slide, I'm going to talk about the communication management issues. The first one is no regular communication between the Taiwanese and Canadian teams working across borders in virtual teams. The Taiwanese team kept the LB and OBC London teams up to date on their progress. While all work needed UK permission, the Taiwanese team worked with considerable autonomy due to cultural differences in the industry. The Taipei team connected with London offices through video conference calls and email. However, in terms of connection with Toronto teams, they only had contact with each other at the global team video conference session, which were held every 2 months. The second one is ineffective communication between the global LB office in London and the local satellite in Toronto. The creative team in LB's Toronto office developed direct marketing materials, while the team in the UK focused on print advertising creativity. The artistic work of the two sides went in separate ways, but each side hoped that the other would follow their style. However, communication between the two parties soon easily became inefficient. Moreover, the Canadian team's poor performance is primarily attributed to inadequate communication between the global LB office in London and the local satellite in Toronto. Also, other challenges for LB's Toronto team had occurred during a video conference meeting where their marketing staff attempted to introduce their innovative idea to the team in the United Kingdom, but they couldn't introduce it successfully. So, communication breakdowns also resulted in friction and inconsistency among departments as well as in the material produced. The third one is inconsistent communication among LV Toronto team and OBC teams in London and Toronto. In order to boost the brand's performance in the Canadian market, LB needed to develop a successful Forever Young campaign. However, contact between LB's London and Toronto account service members, which was the main communication link between the two agencies, became less regular, less candid, and more formal. The fourth one is a rising tension, which led to personnel change. A chain of personnel shift occurred in both LB's and OBC team participating in response to conflict between the two teams resulting from different opinions about payment, unfair starting circumstances, and motivation problems. The last one is discord between Elvis London and Toronto office would negatively affect the relationship to OBC. The global account director for the LB Burnett company organized many face-to-face meetings to ensure transparency and sufficient exchange of details after the kickoff meeting. But later, the team's contact was largely dependent on emails and phone calls. The global account director found that contact had become more formal, so it resulted in discord between Elvis Toronto and London offices and had negative impact on the relationship to OBC. This slide is about the functional issues. The first one is tight schedule. Elvis Toronto team fell behind on website production timetable due to issues with OBC technology standards. OBC's London and OBC's Toronto team instructions were frequently inconsistent. To make matters worse, the two OBC customer teams repeatedly demanded improvement to the site and direct marketing content, allowing both materials to become much more dissimilar and pushing the LB Toronto team to work under incredibly strict deadlines. The second one is poor launch results. Following the national launch, research revealed that the company did not do well with Canadian customers. The differences between the pre launch evaluation and the national launch showed that the pre launch test condition could not be repeated on a national scale. The pre test site had a slightly higher viewer than the national launch. As a result, OBC determined that the performance of the Canadian launch was below the action standards, suggesting that the OBC would not even contemplate moving into the US market at this time. As a result, poor launch results on the Canadian market increased friction between the LB and OBC teams, which put the LB's future business on the OBC brand in jeopardy. The next one is budget problem. Because of the additional design departments and such more things, LB's expenses to staff the initiative were greater than initially anticipated and exceeds the revenue agreed with OBC. Since OBC did not want to spend more for advertising than had been budgeted, LB was under intense internal pressure to complete the project as quickly as possible. This situation caused tension between LB and OBC in the UK, which was in charge of negotiating LB's total payment.
Hi, I am Darshil. Today I will be talking about some of the recommended solution and justification for Leo Burnett Company. Jean-Michel was struggling with the worldwide launch of the project and the project leader were spread across three continents, so in this case, dividing and conquering will not work for Jean-Michel. It is best for her to drop this plan. Moreover, LB requires the use of information technology in which there are some of the areas that requires to use the old outdated methods. A global coordinator must be hired in order to finalize a general theme for advertising content and on the other hand the local team must be developing various ideas in order to promote the product locally. The formation of autonomous team enables them to adapt promotional materials as per the demand of the targeted market. To keep the existence of the organization globally, Jamichel need to have a global headquarters and to manage the problem of communication and finance. She can make the team of UK and Toronto as an independent entity. The overall strategy will be decided by the LB's headquarters without any division of the labor while developing the advertising content. LB must inspire smaller smaller group despite the uh, fact that teams are controlled by a central organization. They must be given the power to modify the advertising content in order to adapt and as a result it is easily available to the target market. It is the duty of LB to overcome the cultural differences between every country and must allow the creative team to gain complete control over the project in order to finish the project within the time limit. At last, it is important to note that LB Toronto and LB Taiwan do not have full control and adhere the LB London's directives in order to improve the business in their respective areas. Next is effectiveness of the solution. The decentralization of the management of the local Canadian team will ensure that good product is launched and a positive client relationship can be built with OBC as the team has a clear understanding of the buyer's need and target market. This solution worked as the model and the principle were used in Taiwanese market. So as a result, it is a good idea that Canadian team start using this model as the base for the communication. With the retirement of the vice president and the client giving approval for the creation of global virtual team to manage this brand. So if the headquarters at US can start following the same reorganization of the team structure will lead to improved communication and also the result of the campaign will be improved. The team centralized might lead to unwanted result and may increase the risk of weakening the relationship with the client also, which would put an extra pressure on the already stressed budget that would result in more unsatisfying compensation for the participants and less funding for the growth of the project. The team will be trained in such a way that there will be very less number of personal changes with a proper understanding of their role. The teams will be given authority to make several decisions related to the project in order to empower them and reduce the ineffectiveness of the team. Last, the teams will be rewarded when the team performs well in their task as it is very crucial for any business, and in this case the organization lack in giving a good compensation to the team, which results in the demotivation of the team and also reduces the team's effectiveness.
The circle of communication chart is easy to make and useful when used on projects. It outlines the tools with which the project manager can collaborate during the project's lifespan. The project manager position in the center of the chart reflects the project contact center. A lead is a person who drives a specific group and works closely with the project manager rather than other team members. Connecting to the project manager role are various directors who have team members working with them. The project manager must maintain direct and consistent contact with two major groups of people, stakeholder and the project team. Hence, in the specific project, the stakeholders, creative director team, account director team must maintain in direct contact with the project manager. The art director and the copywriter work under the creative director. The creatives are focused on visual arts and copywriting talents on turning strategic insights into advertising idea. The account supervisor works under the account director and the account executive, and the account coord work under the account supervisor. They work in close partnership with planning, creative, media, production, and the client to craft focused advertising strategies. The role report matrix describes the reports that will be produced by the project manager for the different roles in the project. The following table shows who all are included in the project and their roles. Daily reports can be accessed by both risk manager and project manager. They can keep an account of the progress of the project and assess the risks in the project. The stakeholder, the CEO, and the quality control manager have access to the monthly reports, which provide an estimate of how the project is going and if any changes need to be made. They also assess the risks involved. The creative manager, account manager, risk manager, project manager, and cost manager play a key role in making sure that the project is on schedule by handling weekly reports that provide a complete overview of all the tasks once they are still in progress and upcoming plans for the future. Project status reports are taken on a regular basis during each step of the project's implementation to help the project manager stay on track and keep others informed.
What is the communication requirement matrix? The project communication matrix is a valuable project management tool that requires keeping the right people informed of the right information in a timely manner, ensuring that all project members in the project team, stakeholders, and customers are kept informed of project status on a timely basis. That being said, here is the project communication requirement matrix based on the roles identified in this case. As you can see, for instance, the project manager communicates with the resource manager and the CEO in different times, in different formats, and different way of communication. And as you can see, all the roles listed on the left side of the table, they have different communication methods and different way of communication with different stakeholders, either internally or external stakeholders. Early on in this case, most of the communications were frequent face-to-face meetings were held to ensure clarity of communication and sufficient of information sharing. In the following months, the team relied on video conferencing and phone calls. Later, the team relied increasingly on emails and phone calls to communicate, and toward ending, the communication had become more formal. Let's talk about customer requirements. Managing customer requirements is a crucial process in any project, especially when these requirements usually keep changing throughout the project lifecycle. Communication, however, is playing a very important role here to make sure all requirements are well defined and well established. The customer requirements that were identified in this case were consumer research, market exploration, brand creative concepts, packaging samples, global copy testing in Europe and in North America, and launching Forever Young brand in Canada as a primary testing market and in Taiwan as a secondary testing market. Before speaking about what went wrong, in this case, the project sponsor OBC is absolutely disappointed by the way advertising agency handled the launch of their new line of product when it was introduced into Canadian market. Their requirements were not properly adopted by the advertising agency to what Canadian consumer market was expected. However, the same advertising agency with more freedom in adapting the communication materials to local markets did an amazing job in Asian market. So in conclusion, the Canadian consumer market reacted negatively to British design creative materials, while Taiwanese consumer market reacted positively to localized creative materials.
Hi everyone, so we will be talking about the SWOT analysis of the case study. So first of all, we will discuss about the strengths, and in strength we had a very good verifiable come out with OBC, and the good news constantly was coming out from the Taiwanese advertisement and their part. And the third one is Leo Burnett Notary, and the information of the showcase was being constantly coming out in a very good way for the company. And the weakness was they had a very poor group administration. The wrong showcase approach was being followed by the higher management and both of the teams of London and the Canadian. And the group communication and the collaboration broke down between the two teams, which was a huge weakness of this failure. The third one, they had a very opportunities coming out on their way. So first one is they had a positive involvement from the Taiwanese advertisement, which was a very good part, and they had expanded incomes and the extra OBC brands coming out with Leo Burnett company, and they had an increased showcase share with other market in the international market like Taiwanese and other parts of the world. The threats was is they had a very tight budget for this project to be implemented, and there was like some kind of personal changes coming up constantly, so which was making this project delayed. And beneath hazard relationship was between the teams of between the two teams, either the London and the Canadian, and the total time to done the project was being taken very much higher as was being expected. So all these were the SWOT analysis which were being done from our side while studying the case study. And in the next part, we will be talking about the entire case study, how this case study was being uh, studied by our group, and we made our conclusion. So our first conclusion is like Leo Burnett must learn to deal with the social contracts, and they must decentralize the work task, and the group structure would still get the like Leo Burnett company or group to victory in Canada, especially in Canada, because in Canada they were lacking between the centralization of the work and the work being divided between the two teams. So the team of London and the team of Toronto must create thoughts and based on their target showcase what the basically their target is. So they should come over the same page, sit on a table and discuss about all the points which needs to be discussed in a very realistic way so that they can have a very good outputs from there. And Leo Burnett company must learn to get its challenges confronted by the globalization and the social contrast. So basically is it is basically about they should learn about the challenges which are being coming up globally from the different parts of the world, what the customer is looking for and what is in demand in the market by from their customers, and what they can do in a very good way to achieve that. So third one is specialist should be hired to alter the publicizing substance so that it can be balanced and in return promptly opened by the target showcase. So they should be like there should be a specialized team which should focus basically on the publicizing the substance and promptly focus on the targets of the particular team of the particular part of the global team on which they want to focus on. So apart from that, I guess this is the way how the Leo Burnett company can do way much better than this and achieve their fruitful results in the near future. Thank you. Thanks for coming up, and we are open for the questions. Thank you.